There's only 4 game weeks left to go in this season's Premier League. And while the title race and the relegation places might both be virtually decided, there's still lots to play for when it comes to the Champions League. And more importantly, there's lots of money to be made over here on the Stakehouse. I'm Colin McCabe. I'm joined, as usual, by my partner in crime, Lucas Dazinski. Lucas, I hope you like the new background. Don't worry, it's only temporary. The bookmakers are holding me hostage, mate. Too many win bets, too many tips. They're scared, and it's basically,
You
I think
win.
that you
You
might be
win.
getting a ransom request very soon, mate. So keep your eyes out for that. Keep your eyes peeled
I
to
won't be
get us
paying up.
out in the mire. Of course you won't. Without further ado, we've got so much to cover. We've got to talk about 2 massive FA Cup semi-finals and 8 Premier League games. We're not going to hang around. We're going to dive straight in. We're going to talk about the FA Cup. First up, we have Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. And it contains my nap of the weekend just to get us off to an absolute flyer here.
Okay.
So, dive in with my thoughts. We've got Palace, who have played a lot of games. Lately, they got absolutely pasted away up at Newcastle. The same outfit Villa demolished 4-1 quite recently. I was a little bit disappointed with Villa last night. They sat back second half, and
Yeah.
I think City were there for the taking. However, I think that sometimes we have a tendency to overthink when it comes to betting. And if we try and look at this in the most obvious way possible, Aston Villa are a better football team than Crystal Palace, with no disrespect. And in a neutral game at Wembley, while Palace have done very well to get this far, including a great result away at Fulham in the quarters, I just think Villa will have too much for them. I was expecting to see Villa around the 1.8 even money mark here. You can actually get Villa at closer to 2.3 when I posted the bet last night. So this is my nap. I think Villa at 2.3 is good value, and I do expect them to go through in this game.
Okay. I mean, interesting. I'm going the other way, actually. I think, Palace have played a lot of games, but I feel like, the last few games, obviously they haven't played well, but I feel like they always had one eye on the cup final. Eventually, essentially, this is a cup final for them, right? Every single game now is a cup final.
Yep.
So I think they've had one eye on it. As we're recording this, they're actually playing against Arsenal in 50 minutes in and losing 2-1, but I think they are the better team on chances. They've rotated some players as well. Live XG is 0.2 Arsenal to 1.2 Palace. So it's playing away against Arsenal. Saying that, I do fancy Palace here plus a quarter. So we've got our first head-to-head at evens. I feel like they can get a result. Again, this is on 90 minutes, right? The Asian handicap. So if it's a draw, basically it goes to extra time. Then you get a half win. So yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. Villa, they've looked really good recently. Last few games they've been smashing teams, and on XG as well. Like they played well against City, but I feel like Palace will set up better, I think, for this.
Can you imagine how successful a season it would be for Villa, though, if they got to the quarters of the Champions League, got back in it again next year, and won the FA Cup? They've still got so much to play for. It's really exciting times at Villa Park.
Yeah.
But there you have it, handbags in the first fixture, straight head to head. Let's move on before we come to blows. We've got Forest versus Man City next. I'll let you kick off. Forest have done very, very well, but these are very crucial moments now. Have they got enough to hold it together?
I don't think so, to be honest. I can see. Look, I've said it all season, right? Forest are going to be falling off soon. Somehow they're still getting results. The way they play, they're really counter attacks. So they'll have a few chances, but they'll convert them. They've got a high conversion chance, right? High conversion rate, but that can't go on forever, right? It's not sustainable. I don't think the way they play. Saying that, I feel like City are kind of getting back into gear, I think, and I feel like at Wembley, City will do the business. I don't have a bet myself, but I have City 0.86 goals better. just so the viewers know, home advantage. Obviously, you need to take home advantage. Home advantage historically in the Premier League last few seasons is around point 3 goals. So that gives you a bit of context. So ultimately, my model says 0.86 to City, but obviously if it was at Forest, then you'd have to take away 0.3 to add the home advantage. So better insights for everyone. But yeah, no bet for me, but I think City should do the business here.
What's more important to Forest, Lucas? Is it winning the FA Cup or is it making the Champions League? If you're a Forest fan, which do you want?
That is actually a tough question because obviously winning the FA Cup would be amazing, right? But I feel like if you win the FA Cup and miss on Champions League, that's potentially a massive blow. I think for like longevity of the club, right? If you get Champions League and all of a sudden attract better players, you improve the squad, etc. You don't get Champions League, some of the key players might leave, and obviously that's going to bring you a step back. It's hard to replace those players. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, FA Cup would be amazing, but if you're looking at like maybe like in the lens of like a sporting director or something like that, owner, right? Probably more important to get Champions League than Cup.
Yeah,
I would say.
absolutely. Agree. It's kind of like the long-term progression of the club versus the short-term glory, isn't it? But I completely see your argument there. I mean, I kind of agree with what your model says there. I mean, your model does give a big thumbs up to City in terms of winning this game. I know they're short at 1.8, but I just think that I loved Guardiola's passion, I have to say, last night during the game when they got the late winner against Villa. You know, this is a guy that's won God knows how many trophies across the world, and he's easily
Yeah,
the best manager in the world right now, in my opinion. And the fact that they're fighting so hard just to get in the top five, and he's celebrating a
yeah.
winner like that is really refreshing and great to see. I think they want to win the FA Cup. I think City will leave it all on the line here, and I think City, even though 1.8 is a little bit short, I don't mind it. So I'm going to play it very simple here and go with the City Villa double. So as well as placing 1 point win on both City and Villa, I'm also saying play the double at 2.8 to 1. So for
Okay.
example, you put a tenner on the double there, returns £38 for City and Villa to win. Sometimes don't overthink it. Go with the better football teams, particularly at the neutral venues, and particularly when there's so much on the line. Good players and good squads usually cope with it a little bit better.
Or go do a double on draws. Anyway,
I'll let you do that one.
yeah,
Let's move straight on to the Premier League. We've got Chelsea versus Everton. Now, talk to me about the top five run in. Are Chelsea going to make it?
yeah. I think they got quite lucky against Fulham. They just didn't look like they were up for playing. It was a really weird game. I had obviously Fulham 0 and Asia handicap, so once this goal went in, I was buzzing. But Fulham were all over him, honestly. And then Fulham all of a sudden kind of like, I don't know, stop playing or something like that, let him have the ball, and he somehow got back into it. But look, I mean, if they want to get to the top five, they need to win this game, right, against Everton away. Look, Everton at home. I mean, doesn't sound like the manager has the fans on the side. They're very inconsistent. Palmer's obviously not doing great as well. He was doing for the first 10 or 15 games, wherever it was. Everton missing Tarkowski, obviously a key player, but I want to get on side with Everton here, and I think Everton +1 is a decent shout. So Everton +1, you get 1.85, and basically what that means is if Everton lose by 1, you get your money back. So it's a bit of insurance there. Like Everton rarely get smashed, right? Moyes sets up quite a defensive team. Again, Tarkowski's out, but look, Chelsea have been just so poor, I think, of late. So I feel like it's a decent bet for me. But going back to your question, top five, the running's going to be quite interesting, to be honest, and imagine a few twists and turns along the way.
Yeah, sure. Nice bit of sitting on the fence here on the top five, but that's an official tip you're going with Everton +1, right?
Yeah.
Cool. We have the same bet again. So I also have Everton +1 as an official tip. I agree with everything you said about Chelsea. In the last game against Fulham, it was really weird, actually, because Jackson and Palmer were just not at it, right? And I think a little bit of credit has to go to Maresca, actually, because he took the two of them off and put on two other players who made a much better impact. So, what do you do now, starting lineup wise? Do you reinstall Palmer and Jackson to the lineup? Do you stick with the team that finished against Fulham? He finished quite strongly. I don't know
Probably
if
do.
Mares.
Probably do.
You probably do. I agree, but
Yeah.
it's a big call to leave Cole Palmer out, right? Maybe not Jackson, but to leave Cole Palmer out, when you're already under fire from the fans, it's a big call to make.
Yeah.
So I think it's really difficult for them to stick or twist. As you say, the goals aren't flowing. You know how difficult Everton will come and make this. They're just not pushovers. David Moyes will have them set up well. So I really like Everton +1 at 1.85. That's an official tip from me as well. In terms of the run-in, I don't think Chelsea have got enough. I think City are positioning themselves well and will make it now. I think Newcastle, with the games in hands and the run-in that they have, I think Newcastle will also make it. So there's only really one place up for grabs between Chelsea, Villa and Nottingham Forest. And I think either Villa or Nottingham Forest, you could make a very strong case that either of them are better bets than Chelsea. So I think it'll be tough for them personally.
So, who do you think the top five will be then?
Go on then. I'll
You have
go.
the Feds.
I'm going to go. I'll sit my neck out. So I'm going to go Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest to do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'll probably agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
There
I
you
can't.
go.
Yeah, I can't see Villa sneaking in. To be honest,
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Villa 6th and Chelsea 7th, though. I'll say that.
I
as
mean,
well.
if they drew against City, could have been good opportunity, but that late minute goals really
Really,
screwed them
and they
over.
got what they deserved, right? I mean, they just sat in. They played for a draw when they could have done with a win, and effectively, I think City were there for the taking, personally, in that game. But it is what it is. Let's move on and talk about Brighton, West Ham. Now, has Graham Potter been getting away with it as the West Ham manager? Are we being too easy on him because he's just joined? And is he a good bet to be the first Premier League manager out of a job next season?
What, you reckon he's going to get sacked already? He's barely had any time, to be honest.
I don't think he'll get sacked this season. But if you go 6 games into next season and they have something like 1-1, drawn 2, lost 3, I think the knives will already be out for him. Yeah, West Ham fans aren't patient.
I mean, look, I've said this start of the season. Even when you said Lopetegui, the saviour's coming, right? The saviour's coming, and he's going to sort that team out. It's a massive job. I'm going to reference it all the time. It's a huge job. Like I mean, I don't know what the owners are thinking, but he needs a proper preseason. I feel like you need to give him a preseason to kind of like implement his philosophy and stuff like that. You saw, was it Fulkrug, Full whatever his name is, came out saying basically like teammates like won't attack and stuff like that. Like there's obviously massive issues with the team.
Yep.
I feel he needs like a few signings to freshen up the team. Like it's been pretty stale. The team has not really had any new faces. He's still like some of the games Kofau still playing, right? I think he's past his best. Let's be honest. So I feel like I like Potter. I like what he's done at Brighton. Obviously, perhaps he got lucky with setup, etc. Like I always say about Brentford, similar thing. Like any manager comes in, he'll do well because the setup's there. West Ham, obviously Chelsea wasn't successful, but look, I mean, West Ham needs to give him a chance, right? Otherwise, who they're going to bring in? Big Sam.
Look, I'm right there with you, right? I'm right there with you. I fully agree he needs a pre-season. I fully agree he needs to get some recruitment done. But all I'm saying is he then needs to hit the ground running next season because he hasn't pulled up trees this season.
Yeah.
Right? So when he's had that summer behind him, things need to work and they need to work quickly because honestly, the West Ham fans will be on his back if 6 to 10 games into next season it's not working. Expect them to not be happy. And it's really interesting this game against Brighton because I think Fabian Hürzeler at Brighton is actually starting to come under a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, I mean,
well. Right?
yeah,
Would it be such a shock this time next year, or even earlier, if Graham Potter ends up back at Brighton? I wouldn't be too surprised to see that happen. Potter and Brighton
that
are
would be
great
a twist.
fit.
That would
Yeah.
be mental. I mean, I went to the Brentford Brighton game, obviously, and I think after second half substitutions, the Brighton fans were chanting, "You don't know what you're doing now." The manager, Brighton manager, right? That's mental.
Yep.
So look, I mean, something going on there. I mean, they had a really good start to the season, right? They were like, comfortably in like top six, top four, I believe, if I remember well. But then they fell off a cliff. They're a really inconsistent team. Look, he's a really young manager. Is he out of his depth? Who knows, right?
I think he's got a very promising career ahead of him, actually, but it doesn't seem like he's gonna. He needs to turn it round to ensure he stays where he is. But I personally wouldn't be surprised to see at some stage next season Potter back at Brighton. I can see that happening.
I mean, that'd be mental.
That'd be a Stakehouse shout out, wouldn't it? If that happened, we'd have to drift
Yeah,
back and
well,
find the
request
footage.
the odds. Request the odds after with someone. See what you get.
Anyway, we've gone off on a bit of a tangent there. What do you think on the result, Brighton West Ham?
I got nothing on this. I have Brighton 0.83 goals better, so I expect a Brighton comfortable win here.
Okay, 0.83 goals sounds quite substantial.
Yeah,
I
it's,
personally
it's massive. Yeah,
think it could be a 1-1 draw, but that's a good indicator for people that do want to have a bet. All right, let's talk about Newcastle versus Ipswich. I'll crack on with this one. I mean, Newcastle have got 12 goals in the last 3 games before Villa. So obviously they had a really bad game at Villa Park, but the goals are flowing. I've actually found a really interesting bet for this game because of those 12 goals they scored in the 3 games before Villa, 8 of them were first half goals. But when you look at the actual betting markets for highest scoring half, you can get 3.0 on Newcastle's highest scoring half to be the first.
okay.
So considering that 8 of their last 12 goals are first half goals, that is, yes, it's a very small data sample size, right? There's no arguments on that. But it just points a little bit to me that Newcastle are in the mode of get our business done early in games, get the result in the bag.
Yeah,
And I think that they could approach the game against Ipswich with the same mentality. So, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see Newcastle 2 or 3-0 up at half time here. And if that happens, that bet virtually wins, right? So I really, really like Newcastle to have the first half as the highest scoring half. I don't know if it's a market on every single bookie, but it is on 365. So you can find it there. It's 2-1 or 3.0 if you want decimal. But I actually think that's a really dark horse tip that should give you a great run.
yeah. I mean, look, they got smashed by Villa, right? They're going to be trying to go all guns blazing, right, in this game. So look, I can see that happening quite easily.
Cool.
And look, Ipswich, they're down, right? Like whatever, they're not going to be. I don't know what the motivation's going to be like, right? So,
What does your model have for this one?
I mean, Newcastle like massively favourites, 1.64 goals. So actually, from all the games that we're going to cover, this is the biggest kind of advantage. So yeah, should be an easy win by Newcastle.
Perfect. And in one word, should Ipswich stick with Kieran McKenna next season to take them back up or not?
Yeah, I think so. But does he want to move on? What about West Ham? Maybe West Ham might come after him, right?
Intriguing shout. Has he done enough to cement to put himself in the mix for a job like that? Personally, I'm not sure.
Look, I mean, just on Ipswich side, look, they got back-to-back promotions. Like they're not ready for the Premier League, right? The fact that they came up, look, competed in an okay fashion, right? Look, they didn't stay up, but they weren't walkovers. They had some decent games, etc. So look, they obviously don't have the squad for a Premier League, and now for them to like focus on doing well in the Champion, coming back up.
Yeah, but you could almost say the same thing as McKenna. I think that
Palace just had a really good chance.
His pedigree is brilliant, but is he Premier League quality just yet? I'm not so sure. I personally think he should stay with Ipswich and try and take him back up. If he shows himself capable of doing that, getting out of the Championship twice, maybe he deserves another shot at a Prem job. But until that, not quite for me. Southampton versus Fulham. What is the model saying? Give us some insight.
Fulham 0.66 goals better than Southampton. Again, one of these games where look, Southampton not going to be motivated at all. Right, they're down. Who cares? Fulham, they want to. They still have a chance of getting Europe. Right, so they're going to be going for this game. Again, I feel like they should have beat Chelsea. They're going to be raging about that game. So I feel like they're just going to go out all guns blazing. I don't have a bet, but I expect them to win this. To be honest.
Yeah, my suspicion's goals. If I had to edge one way, I'd probably go with Fulham, although there's a little confidence behind them at the moment. It's not really clicking. They look a bit tired, but Southampton are so bad that it feels probably Fulham, but I wouldn't be surprised with something like a 2-1 here or something like that, but there's no betting angle from me. Move on to Wolves versus Leicester. I'll start because, again, I have an official tip here. My official tip is goals. Over 2.5 of them, to be exact, which comes in at 1.93. They've both been involved in some high-scoring games of late. Wolves, while the new managers come in, their defensive metrics admittedly have improved massively. They showed last time out at home against Tottenham, they're very happy to play you have a shot, we have a shot, and they ended up with a 4-2 win against Spurs. So it looks like he's trying to get them to be a little bit more expansive now, which I think should play in the hands of this bet. Leicester, I think, are better away from home. When they get away from their crowd, there's almost a little bit less. A little bit less.
I
of
mean,
the
that's a
spotlight on
low
them.
bar, but yeah.
But I mean, the crowd are on their back, right? And ultimately, they've had a lot of poor results at home. I mean, they've set the unwanted record of fewest goals scored in 9 home games, no goals in 9 home games, right? So I think just getting on the road for Leicester will be a little bit of a relief. And I expect them to have a swing at this. And I think they can get on the score sheet. If they do so, I expect Wolves definitely score at least 2. So I think the over 2.5 goals at 1.93 is absolutely a runner in this one.
Cool. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a dead rubber, right? I'd imagine, teams are just going to be going all out attack. I mean, what's the point of defending, right? So, yeah, I can see it being goals, no motivation.
What's the model say? What have you got?
Wolves, a whole goal better. So, expect Wolves to probably walk this.
Cool. All right. And let's move on and talk about Bournemouth versus Manchester United. Now, there's a lot of stories circulating that Matthias Cunha has given United the indication that he would be open to a transfer. Would the public are very divided on this one, Lucas? Would he be a good signing for United or not?
I mean, why are other teams not interested? I think he's got a temper issue. I don't think he's a kind of bit of a team player. Sounds like he's a bit selfish. Look, he's a really good player, yeah. But then why are there no links with Liverpool, Newcastle, any of the better teams, right? I feel like United almost are throwing away money at bringing anyone in. They don't want to have another I'm not saying he's another Anthony, but he could have not be a team player. Anthony clearly had, I don't know, some issues, not good in the dressing room, stuff like that, right? That's why he got told to leave, right? Perhaps. But he's smashing it Real Betis. But anyway, going off the grid, look, I think United need to overhaul the team, right? And I feel like it could be a good signing, but I think it's a bit weird how the better teams aren't going for him.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, slightly harsh on Anthony, but I get where you're coming from. He's not the most popular figure in English football.
Yeah.
But in terms of this one, look, I get what you're saying. I agree with everything. I think Cunha definitely has a temper. I mean, that image of him grabbing the steward's glasses will keep me awake at night, to be honest. And how he wasn't punished more severely for that is ridiculous. But I think there's talent there. And I think that beggars can't be choosers. My initial thought was along the same lines as you. Ultimately, is he going to be another prima donna? Is he going to have the work rate? Is he going to really want it? But the bottom line is, right now, we've got a team full of players that do actually work hard, right? They are playing for the manager. They're just not very good, right? It's not like there's players throwing their arms up in the air everywhere, right? At some point, you've got to mix in a little bit of quality. And we've got a young, fresh manager who's apparently a very good man manager. So I think we actually have to have faith in him to utilize those qualities. So for me, I think Cunha could breathe a little bit of life into us, particularly with the system that Amorim plays. I think that he could be actually, if channeled correctly and managed correctly, I think he could be a really good buy for United. And 62.5 million for a player of his quality, if we get it right and if he performs, could look like value.
I mean, all right, okay, put it this way, like, if United are in a position where they are next season, maybe at the start playing games poorly, etc., what you've seen Cunha, do you think he has the character to stay professional and, play for the team, or is he going to be selfish and have a strop?
The one thing I'd say about him is his performances at Wolves have never dipped. While he has been selfish and some of his actions, most of them off the pitch, to be honest. I mean, the first thing I would do as a
Yeah,
United...
he might not play half the games because he's going to be suspended for half the season.
Right,
so ultimately you're paying 60 mil for half a season player.
Which is definitely a problem. But everything that's happened has generally been after the final whistle or on social media, right? They're kind of the easier things to sort out. What I would say is he has always looked like a good player during games. He's never down tools, no matter how frustrated he's going to be. And ultimately, you should never question ambition. It's good that he wants to progress his career. He might not be doing it in the perfect way, but it's also, there's nothing wrong with saying, hi, look, I think I'm good enough to play Champions League, or I think I'm good enough to take the next step. Why can't I do that? Even though he won't get Champions League at United, but it is what it is. I think, personally, of course he's a gamble, but every player is going to be a gamble. He's Premier League proven, he's quality, and if it doesn't work out, I would be more looking to Amorim and our leadership group of players in terms of saying, why haven't you done more to help him succeed here? Put an arm around his shoulders, give him the confidence, and manage him to make sure that he works correctly for the team. So for me, I would be taking a punt on Cunha if he is available at that price. In terms of the game,
60 mil, 400k a week, 6-year contract.
He's not going to get 400k a week, and he's not going to get.
It'd be like 200.
200 a week, 150 to 200 a week, and probably he's 26 years old, so
4 years,
probably 4-year contract. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the game. What does your model have, Bournemouth United? Let me guess, a Bournemouth win by any chance?
Yeah, Bournemouth win. I mean, could you imagine a few years ago seeing this price of Bournemouth being 1.67 to win at home against the mighty United? I mean, the table's upside down, so I would say. It's such a good time to be alive. Look, I got no bet on this, but look, Clivert's back for Bournemouth. They should have probably beat Palace. Palace were down to 10 men, couldn't find a way through. Playing at home, they're still, gunning for European football. So I think it's gonna be an easy win for Bournemouth. I don't rate United at all. I think they're terrible, but I think their line's probably about right. So I'm not gonna bet. But if I was gonna have an acca on a weekend for the bankers, I'd put Bournemouth as a win as well in that.
Okay, that's a good bit of advice, because there'll be a lot of people doing that. I mean, as a United fan, every fibre of my being wants to be positive, and you go on Odds Checker to have a look at it, and you just see Bournemouth up there at 4-6, and you just want to cry into a pillow.
Xerxes out as well for the season, right?
Yeah, I mean, is that a good or a bad thing? But, I mean, ultimately, in terms of this game, I think the United have got bigger fish to fry. There's everything. Everything now rests on Athletic Bilbao. The funny thing is, I think the semi will be a lot harder than the final for United. If they can beat Bilbao and then play the final in Bilbao Stadium against either Spurs or Bodo Glimt, I think that final will be easier than the semi-final. I think United will either go out in the semi-final or they'll win it. I think
how good would it be to have United versus Spurs in the final?
Who would you be on for?
I mean, it's just going to be like Timmy and Jimmy in South Park having a fight, right? Honestly, it's just like two of the jokers teams of the season battling it out to somehow be in Champions League next season. Like, again, what kind of parallel universe are we living in that
what
teams in the bottom?
Gary Neville said
Bottom five.
Red
What?
Lion versus Gary Neville said it was. It was like it's the Red Lion versus the Dog and Duck, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like the bottom, what? Bottom five? What is it? Whatever it is, 6, 7 teams. Like two of those teams could be playing Champions League football. I mean, that's. I hope it is those two because it would just be the funniest thing ever.
I mean, for a club like United, you look at what constitutes success in a European competition. For Champions League, you can say quarters or semis is definitely a good run, quarters is an okay run, But when it comes to the Europa League or anything below that, if you're going to be in it, you have to win it.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
less than winning
Otherwise,
it,
it's a waste of time. Yeah.
anything less than winning it, there's no point being in it. And not for us to go out in the final, not only would we not win it, but to lose in the final to the consummate bottlers Spurs, that would just
Oh,
be.
that would be amazing.
It
I
would be
do hope.
tragic.
Yeah, I mean, I do hope United win because it would be funny for Ange
You'd
not
need
to
a
win
new host,
anything
mate. I'm not coming on the pod for weeks after that. If that
because
happens.
Ange can't leave on a high. He's not that
Um,
guy.
so yeah, in terms of this game, I've not got a bet, but I do think Bournemouth will beat United. I think United will rotate as they should, because it's basically dead rubber, and Bournemouth still have a little bit to play for in terms of European places. So it's way more important to Bournemouth. They should win. Liverpool versus Tottenham. What have you got?
Again, like going back to what you're saying, Tottenham might be rotating again. They don't care about this game, right? Come on, like they're playing a team with a forward slash on Thursday. Again, what kind of parallel universe are we living in? It's probably word a phrase of a podcast, but look, like, I mean, they're going to get completely smashed by Liverpool. Is it? I think Liverpool, because if Arsenal lost today, then I mean they're winning 2-1, they could lose. So Liverpool could win the league tonight, but then I feel they'll win it if they win against Tottenham, right?
Yeah.
So look, they're going to go out, smash Tottenham to pieces. Tottenham will try to play the usual attacking. They'll get picked off by Salah, Diaz, everyone else. So I got no bet on this, but I got Liverpool 1.4 goals better, so clear favourites. Look, it's a perfect game to beat Spurs and win the league at home. Like no point delaying it, and because after that they're playing Chelsea right away, so they want to put a good shift in and win this game. So no bet, but Liverpool going to walk it.
Totally agree. I won't spend long on it, but just to say that I think they'll do it in style. Tottenham, again, have got more important fish to fry right now, and I expect Liverpool to win comfortably. I wouldn't actually put anybody off the -1 handicap for Liverpool either if you wanted to go down that route, although it's not an official tip. Last game of the weekend, though, does contain an official tip, so I'll kick off with Forest
Okay, all right.
versus Brentford. Now,
I got a bet on this as well. I'm interested to know what you
okay,
go with.
so let me kick off. So obviously, Forest played last Monday night, and we put out a tweet saying definitely worth backing Forest in terms of them being our nap of the weekend. A lot of money came for Tottenham late. We were proved right, which was nice. However, we rode our luck. If you look at the XG in that game, Forest got absolutely pasted, and they have been for a while not getting away with it because their defense is just so resilient and so strong. But the problem that they have now is that the chasing pack are right on top of them. Before, when they were sat quite comfortably in third, drawing a game here and there wasn't the end of the world. There was less impetus on them to get forward and get after teams, and they were quite content to sit and hit on the break, and it worked out really well for them. This is must win for Forest if they're going to make the top 5 places. And I personally think that they're playing one of the worst teams where they need to get a result for that to happen. Brentford are in good form. I was actually at the game with you for Brentford Brighton, and Brentford scored more. Brentford scored 4. They could have scored more. And I personally think that Brentford going here will have a swing, and Forest will try and come out and try and get on the front foot. And I just think there's not much more of an explanation than that, to be honest. But I've just got a feeling that the away win at 3.3 could land here.
Sorry. Mateta just scored a worldie to make it 2-2.
Really?
Oh my lord! Yeah, 82nd minute,
Is
absolute
that the title?
worldie.
Is that the title for them tonight if that stays?
Yeah. I think if they draw, then Liverpool win it. Yeah. Oh my!
Wow.
It was like miles out.
Sounds like a
Yeah, he
0.11
lobbed. He
XG.
lobbed Raya.
What's
Yeah.
Raya doing off his line?
About to see the highlights. I was looking at your ugly mug, so I couldn't see it properly. But
God, I'm glad you're not one of those Gillette Soccer Saturday reporters. You'd be absolutely useless.
hold on, let's see. Anyway, yeah, go on, crack on.
Yeah. So basically, I think that the away win at 3.3 is worth a punt, and I'll swing at that. What is your tip?
3-1-3 win. Sorry, I was just watching the highlight. Yeah, some error out of the back. Anyway, yeah, look, I've been saying it for so long, right? Nottingham Forest are going to fall off, right? And I feel like now it's crunch time. You said there's a bit of pressure on. Brentford got schooled a bit by them at home, and I think Frank's going to learn his lesson, learn how to set up better against them. Maybe even sit back a bit and let them come at you. And Brentford are quite good on a break, which you could see against Brighton. I think Brentford have looked really strong last few games, even despite the results. We've looked solid. I think we can get something out of this game. Obviously, wearing my Brentford top and got Eriksen's signed shirt in the background. So I'm going, not biased at all. I have the model as pretty even. There's not much between these two teams. So Brentford plus a quarter on the Asian handicap 1.96 is a bit of value for me. So basically what that means, if Brentford draw, you win half your money. If they win, they win. So basically just need a draw, which I think it's more than possible, really.
Excellent. All right, so we have the same train of thought. Let's summarize. So for me, I've got a few different angles to approach here. So starting off with the FA Cup, playing it fairly straightforward and simple with Villa and Man City. You can get 2.3 on Villa, you can get 1.8 on City. I'm also suggesting you put a third point on the double at 2.8 to 1. In terms of the Premier League, I've got Everton +1 away at Chelsea on the Asian handicap, which is odds of 1.8. I have got Newcastle to have a higher scoring first half than second at 3.0. I have got Wolves Leicester over 2.5 goals at 1.93. And I have got Brentford to win away at Forest at 3.3. Again, singles is definitely the more advised route in terms of the most prominent and optimal betting strategy. However, for those of you dreamers out there, you can stick those 4 Premier League selections in an acca at odds of 30 to 1. And if you want to combine them with the 2 FA Cup shots as well, I haven't actually put it out because it's not one that I'm going to do myself, but you can get that probably at approximately 110, 120 would be my guess if you wanted to go that way as well. So plenty of juice.
How many total tips for you?
Total
Minus
tips.
the doubles?
Total tips for 6.
Okay,
2
nice.
FA Cup, 4 games.
I've only got 3, so it's all about, for me, it's all about the value, not the quantity of the bets. Quality, not the quantity, and value as well, obviously.
Ouch! Wow.
So
okay.
I got
Give us
Everton
these 3
+1.
quality selections then.
I have Everton +1 at 1.84, and then I have Palace plus a quarter at evens, and then Brentford plus a quarter at 1.95. So yeah, just the 3 bets for me.
Cool. And again, you can probably, any of you that really buy into Lucas's model, his way of thinking, you can probably combine those 3 selections for around about the 8 to 9 to 1 kind of price as well, if you price them up on 365 or a different bookie of choice. So yeah, there you have it. Plenty of angles. We've got 9 selections across both of us there to attack. Maybe you'll follow one of us. Maybe you'll mix and match in terms of the best selections that you find across the board. Either way, have fun with your betting. Keep it clean. Keep it safe. And we'll enjoy your football. We'll speak to you next week.